Criterion Games is shutting down the servers for its 2008 game Burnout Paradise, a decision that affects the X360, PlayStation 3, and PC versions of the game. A loss of online support is an inevitability for games with online features, but not many make it as long as Criterion's Burnout Paradise. It's a move the developer announced on Twitter earlier today, and one that comes 11.5 years after the game first launched. The official cutoff point is August 1st,
2019.
Following that, the game's offline features will still function as normal, but players will not be able to access any of the online content, including in-game cards on challenges only available through online play. Since the game is one of many X360 supported by the X1's backward compatibility feature, that version of the game will lose its online services as well. However, Burnout Paradise Remastered, released last year for the X1, PlayStation 4, and PC, is not included in the shutdown, and will continue to feature online play. Burnout Paradise fans, after over 5 years of service, the service for the original 2008 game will be closing on August 1st, 2019. That affects X360, PS3 and PC versions. Offline play will still be available of course, and Burnout Paradise Remastered servers are unaffected. Bethesda has announced that a handful of its games will be launching on Steam in the future. In addition to the company's own PC storefront, recently it seems that more game companies have been announcing that they are skipping a Steam release, either for the Epic Game Store or their own first-party store, rather than expanding out to the massive PC storefront. So Bethesda's announcement that it's looking beyond its own digital store is just slightly unusual. In a tweet, the company announced that it will be bringing its upcoming games Rage 2, Wolfenstein, Youngblood, Wolfenstein, Cyberpilot, and Doom Eternal to both Steam and Bethesda's own digital store. Additionally, its massively multiplayer online Fallout game Fallout 76 will be hitting Steam later this year. That title first launched last November, but has only seen its PC version hosted on Bethesda's store so far. Microsoft announced today that it's beta testing a bunch of new features for its game Borrow overlay on Windows 10, including video capture sharing, cross-platform chat with X-players, and new volume and performance controls. With these new features, Windows 10 itself seems capable of efficiently handling more of the play-adjacent activities, like voice chatting with friends, or clipping exciting moments that many PC game players offload to third-party tools, like Discord or NVIDIA's Shadowplay. The bit about cross-platform communication is especially notable, since it ties PC game players' multiplayer into the X Live community. That community is now set to stretch across not just across Windows and X consoles, but also the OS and Android, and it all seems to be roughly in line with the promise Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella made in 2015 that games are key to Microsoft's broad vision for Windows. We will pursue our gaming ambition as part of this broad vision for Windows and increase its appeal to consumers, Nadella wrote at the time. We will bring X Live and our first-party gaming efforts across PC, console, mobile and new categories like HoloLens into one integrated play. The Gamasutra job board is the most diverse, active and established board of its kind for the video game industry. Here is just one of the many positions being advertised right now. Location: North Hollywood, California. Game Mechanic Studios in North Hollywood, California, within miles from the NoHo Arts District. Game Mechanics Studios was established in 2000, on date with the goal of making great games with amazing people. Over the last 10 years, we have had the pleasure of working with some of the biggest publishers in games like Activision, Warner Brothers, and Microsoft on AAA mobile and console projects. Thanks to emerging technologies from Oculus, HTC, and Samsung, we are now blazing the trails on multiple fronts in which games, movies, and education have all converged onto the single most immersive platform in entertainment, virtual reality, with unparalleled support from both Valve and Epic. We are excited to be at the forefront of this technology. At the end of the day, it's the creativity, teams, and people that inspire us, and in turn we hope to inspire them. Game Mechanics Studios is looking for a gameplay engineer to join our team to assist in the engineering and design process. The candidate must be able to communicate well, is self-motivated and has unity and unreal experience in 3D games. The ideal candidate will have experience in all the following Unity skills. The ideal candidate will have experience in all the following Unreal skills. Requirements. Responsibilities. Interested? Apply now. Whether you are just starting out, looking for something new, or just seeing what's out there, the Gamasutra job board is the place where game developers move ahead in their careers. Gamasutra's job board is the most diverse, most active, and most established board of its kind in the video game industry, serving companies of all sizes, from indie to AAA. Looking for a new job? Get started here. Are you a recruiter looking for talent? Post jobs here. This article began as an answer to a multifaceted yet straightforward question: what makes a good role-playing game? I have worked with several RPGs during my career, and even written a presentation on the subject, but I have never before approached it from a holistic point of view. There are plenty of material on what makes a good game, and naturally, most of that applies to role-playing games too, but there are some design decisions that are specific, if not unique, to a genre, since it's impossible to give a list of features a role-playing game should have, and there are numerous ways to approach any given design aspect. I broke down the design into 4 distinct axes. None of the axes alone can tell if you are on the right path with your design, but together they help to manage the big picture. From the early days of Dungeons & Dragons, chainmail and their precursors, randomness has been in the core of the role-playing game design. In tabletop games, you use the dice to determine the outcome of any uncertain action, and there were a lot of them back in the day. As the discipline of RPG design advanced, the number of dice rolls slowly decreased, and some games even left them out completely. In digital games, some randomness has been replaced by player skill in more action-oriented games, but it's still an essential part of any traditional RPG experience, especially in fantasy games. There is rarely a sweet spot for randomness versus determinism, and the best approach varies from game to game. My process has usually started with too much randomness, and then adding determinism iteration by iteration. My RPG battle design articles go into this in more detail, but here's a short recap. In tabletop games, rolling dice is an action you take. Episode 17. Even though we consciously know that we cannot affect the outcome of the roll, except by cheating, rolling well feels like a personal accomplishment, and the failed roll is either your fault or just bad dice. In digital games, the streak of bad luck feels like a fault of the game, and can get frustrating very fast. That is why we need to give the players more options to own their action. In Rhinelands, We added the reroll option for this reason. Since the game only rerolls the failed dice, the option actually reduces the randomness, and by costing a single mana point, you always have a pool of precisely 5 mana points. It makes rerolling an actual choice. Another good option to add determinism is to have a relatively limited range of randomness for damage. The solution often seen in jerks. The worst luck becomes the bottom line, and you can only go upward. Rolling a crit feels good even if you are not the one doing the rolling. But you can never really budge to your bad luck. A low amount of randomness usually leads to battles feeling more like puzzles in which you have to find the right combination of abilities to defeat a particular enemy. Usually, the most deterministic fights in such games are boss fights. But Persona 5, for example, takes this to another level, requiring the player to know the exact strengths and weaknesses to succeed in any fight.